Grady Bogger. Yeah, I think you are the first one here. Welcome. Hello, everyone. Let me get my iPad out. Hold your horses. Can't read the chat. Can't interact with the audience till I have this. All right. And this has got a good battery life on it. How's everyone doing? Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon, depending on where you are. We just close a few apps here. Still no close all apps functions. Waiting on that, iOS 11. All right. Let me open the chat here. We got to connect to the hotspot first. Let's hope Verizon is good to us this evening. How is everyone? Can't read the chat yet. Hold on. Let me just get connected. Okay, hotspot is connected. And let me make sure I'm on the right channel. I want mod privileges. I want to ban those if I feel like it. Because I mute people occasionally. Not really. Not very often. Okay, here's the chat. Hello again. Emmanuel, do you remember me? I do. Okay, Grady says start. Hi from New Zealand. Wow. Mangesh says, how are you doing? I'm doing okay. It's kind of late for me. It's 11:40 p.m. here on a Friday night here in the States, in California. Northern California. Don't need my keys in there. My head's getting cut off a little bit. Hi from Australia. Crazy says, notice me. Flavia says hi from Mars, which I kind of doubt. Not gonna lie, I don't believe that for a second because, for those super nerds out there, you guys would know. It takes 20 minutes for light to get to Mars. So even if I went live here in the States, it would take 20 minutes before you got that alert on Mars. Anyway, it's all mad. Talon's from California. Cool. Well, you guys are up late. It's a Friday night. Don't you have better things to do than just watch Tailosive Tech live? Come on. All we're going to do here is talk about the iPhone 8 and why Surface products are stupid. Seriously, what is with the Surface Pro? Everyone expected me to talk about that. I literally considered it, okay? So everyone kept commenting, because look, whether or not you believe it, I do read the comments. That's an old sound that's going to get annoying fast. Stupid Samsung. Remember how terrible Samsung did last time? I gotta log it in and crap. I'm gonna turn off the Wi-Fi so I can't do anything. There we go. Yeah, it's nearly midnight here in California. Anyway, everyone kept commenting that they wanted to see my opinions on the new Surface Pro, because it's not the Surface Pro 5. And, okay, look, I thought about it. I saw the announcement. I was like, oh, okay, it's a new Surface Pro. We saw the Surface laptop, and we thought, oh, maybe they're not going to go through with the Surface Pro. Then I saw that they unveiled the new one. Didn't look too far into it. Wasn't that interested. So just decided, okay, you know what, fine. Everyone's asking about it. I'll look it up. So I looked at Microsoft's announcement of it. I looked at recaps of it from other YouTubers, and I was like, are you serious right now? This is your upgrade. You just like, LTE is coming later. And I'm still like, I still don't personally understand why we put LTE in our iPads, because you can just hotspot from your phone. What's the con to that? Your phone's battery life gets a little bit lower? So the solution is to instead pay a whole nother bill on your data plan just for a tablet. And the other thing that drove me nuts with the new Surface Pro is now in the tagline, in the marketing, it actually says most versatile laptop. It doesn't say tablet anymore. So they used to call it the tablet that could replace your laptop. Now they're not even saying it's a tablet, which is what I've been saying all along. That thing is a broken laptop that doesn't ship with a keyboard, and it used to ship with the stylus, but they got rid of that because the stylus is too cool now. Different levels of pressure sensitivity. I still think it's dumb because back when I tested the Surface Pro 4, whenever I would use the stylus on it and I pressed a little bit too hard, the screen would warp. Like it wasn't supposed to interact with a stylus that was pressing hard. I hope they fixed that, but don't expect me to review that tablet or laptop, whatever it is. And battery life getting longer, that's great, I guess. Starting price is about the same. I'm sure specs are a little bit better, but when it runs Windows 10s, that is by far the worst thing about it. Something just crossed my mind today that a lot of people already realize, but Steam is not on the Windows Store. Microsoft, do you realize how often people use Windows 10 for Steam? That is like the first app so many people get on Windows 10. But you can download the Pro version. Yeah, but that's such an inconvenience that out of the box now I'm going to have to re-download an entire operating system for my computer and boot it up all over again. And of course, you don't always have that option. You have that option for the rest of the year. Then they're going to take that away. Then your default go-to option is Windows 10s. If you want something that can install Steam, you got to pay $100. I don't understand why educational OS means not having freedoms. I don't know. I guess if they're trying to reclaim the education market, they're doing a really bad job at it. Because I think all that education really cares about, honestly, is just finding laptops that are cheap. Hey, K, thanks, bye. What do you think Force Touch will be like on the new iPhone? Well, I think... Well, I heard they were running into some manufacturing problems because OLED... Sorry, I was just checking because the chat kind of slowed down here. I'm just making sure everything's okay. It seems alright. I think the chat might have been put in slow mode or something. Or just internet's weird on here. That's quite possible. Okay, Cameron John, I will chill out for a second. Whew, okay, Microsoft. You're not a Microsoft Jeep, Drew. You can relax. Okay. I'm watching this on a MacBook Pro 2016 Touch Bar. No, you are not. You cannot watch this on a Touch Bar. That'd be kind of weird. It'd be really stretched out, real thin. Oh, yes. Anyway, super chat incentives. So, for those who don't know, who are just joining for the first time, if this is your first time, every live stream I'd like to give everyone a few super chat incentives. So first of all, you want to change the topic of whatever I'm talking about? Super chat, that's a great way. All it takes is $2 to write a comment. That's a great way to do it. Another big incentive is last time it did pretty well, so I'm bringing it back. If someone donates $20 in a single super chat, that's a lot, but you should get something out of it. I'm going to pour this full glass of water. Can I prove to you? It's full of water. I will pour this on my head. $20, which you guys achieved last week. That was no problem for you. So I'll bring that back. Now, a little bit more incentive because when the last time I gave out that super chat option, people did it very quickly. So I'm going to make things a little bit more tricky. This is a full cup, very large liter of water here. Just green. And it is very full, and if you couldn't tell, about twice as full as this mug. I will pour all of this on me as well if we reach 40. So 40 combined, both, just 20, just do this, and then another 40 for this one. So that's kind of weird. Different incentive, probably right in the middle. For $30, I will live stream on the Tailosive Talks channel myself getting a haircut. If you guys think I need a haircut or a shave, you can donate in that. So there you go. Do you have no dignity? Well, not for Super Chat, because this is my job and I need to make money. Anyway, someone pay I'm broke. Yeah, it's okay. If you can afford it, great. If you can't, whatever. Anyway, Ken T says, hi, Andrew. How are you liking the 2016 MacBook Pro 15-inch so far? The battery life as bad as many people mentioned? Does the big trackpad of the 15-inch get in the way a lot? Okay, first of all, I've never had an issue with the trackpad. The trackpad is great at rejecting palms. And battery life used to be a problem when I used my Adobe apps on it all the time. I used to just use Premiere and After Effects in Photoshop. And whenever I was exporting in Premiere or using After Effects, battery life would shrink down to 1 to 2 hours. It was not good at all. But after that, I decided to switch to Final Cut Pro, which was much more optimized. Battery's been great. I can be editing a video and exporting for like 5 to 6 hours on a full charge, and I don't have to carry around my charger everywhere I go, which is great. It all fits in the nutsack, as some of you may have seen. That's a very, very stupid name for a bag. But they actually mailed me back the people who made this satchel here that I highly recommend because it's a very high quality satchel. I use this all the time. They emailed me back and said that they liked my review of it and that they're working on a satchel that is slightly wider that will hold a 15-inch MacBook Pro, which I was really hoping they would send me when it's ready. They said it'd be ready at the end of June, and I may have not been supposed to say that. So I apologize if I've leaked new information, but I figure they're not a huge company. I don't think they'll care. But just if you're wanting one for a 15-inch MacBook Pro, they're in the works. But I haven't had issues with the trackpad. I've still been incredibly amazed, and very grateful for the amount of processing speed I get on it. Videos export very quickly. Things import razor fast that I don't even notice that I'm using adapters. And I haven't had a need to change my USB-C to USB-A adapters because it's like, well, I could get new cables that would technically be faster, but my transfer speeds on the MacBook Pro are so fast right now that it doesn't really matter. Honestly, it doesn't make a huge difference. So, yeah, it's been great. I still love it. I wouldn't expect you guys probably shouldn't anticipate me to buy the new MacBook Pros that are getting refreshed at WWDC. We know there's going to be new ones. They might even update the 12-inch MacBook lineup. There's supposed to be some pretty massive MacBook refreshes, just internally, not design-wise. Don't expect me to buy those because I'm very, very satisfied with the MacBook Pro I have right now. It's great. I love it. I'm going to keep using it for my tech videos, and the only thing I think I would change about it is I wish I would have had more money to spend on storage because I run out of space on that thing constantly. But just have a little mobile hard drive, 1 terabyte, just move all of it on there whenever I fill it up, and it's just one extra step. But at the time of buying that MacBook Pro, I could not afford to get a bigger drive. I could not afford the 512 or the 1 terabyte. I could barely afford it itself. I could barely afford the 15-inch at the time it came out. So I was already kind of pushing my limits a little bit. So that's why the 256 bare minimum storage option was what I went with. It was last minute decision to go with that dedicated GPU. Andrew, buy the iPhone 7s and hit it with a hammer, or buy the iPhone 8 and cut it with a buzzsaw. Your advice, please and thanks. Well, first of all, don't do either of those. I'm not in the position of a tech channel to have enough money or subscribers, basically viewers or super chat, to, what do you say, do durability tests. I'm very curious about that kind of thing. Like when I got my AirPods, I was very curious to know, like, how do these handle in water? And when I get a new phone, I like to see how it handles in water. I don't really care much about drop tests because I haven't found those very insightful. They've really just been like, look, when you drop it, it scuffs on the edges. Great. Or the glass breaks a little bit. Like, bottom line is just please don't drop your phone. And you shouldn't judge which phone you buy off of which one breaks the least when you drop it. Just be careful. But the water thing, I think, actually opens up more functionality. On the Tailosive Talks channel, where I vlog all the time, it was incredibly handy to have that Galaxy S8 to jump into water with. And I could actually vlog while I was swimming. That looked really cool. Like, the microphone still worked, and the visuals of it, you could shoot at 4K and stuff. That was really cool. And that's why I'm curious about stuff like that. So that's why I want to see iPhone water test or AirPods water test in case I had AirPods on in the rain or something like that. And it would be really cool to see, like, the next gen of AirPods be IP68 water resistant. If, you could listen to music while you were swimming, which sounds really stupid, but honestly, I would do it if I could. Or at least just wear AirPods in the shower while you're listening to music. Because it's really hard to listen to music when you're showering because there's lots of sound going on. But if you had the headphones that were waterproof, that'd be dope. Anyway, hashtag road to 1 million. Yeah, I'd like to see that. Ray Laurie, don't expect AirPods 2 at WWDC. There's certainly right now no rumors or no leaks resulting in any kind of AirPod update. My AirPods Series 2 wish list was purely just a wish list. It was not based on any rumors. The only leak is a patent I saw where they said they could build an Apple Watch charger into the AirPods case. So that's not real change to the AirPods itself. Just the charging case could charge other accessories. That was just a patent they passed. That can, a lot of the time, not result in anything. It's just a patent. Anyway, Sam Felton says, if you could go into the future and see any Apple product released, what would you choose? iPhone in a few years, iPad in a few years, or MacBook in a few years, or MacBook Pro in a few years? No, Sam, that's a good question. We'll see. here's the wild card of that. If we're going into the future, I'd like to see a product that we don't know exists yet. Um, if the Apple Car is ever truly going to happen, I'd love to see that keynote. It's going to be so drastically different from every other keynote we watch. Um, a car would be nice. I'd love to see augmented reality glasses. I really don't care, honestly, about seeing the iPhone in 10 years or the iPad in 10 years. I could kind of tell you exactly what they're going to do. Bezels get thinner, things get faster, home button on the display. They'll probably add a taptic engine, stuff like that. MacBook Pro is likely going to go the route of my concept with the whole touchscreen bottom. Not that significant, but what I don't know is the products that are yet to come out, which I still think there's a lot of. First of all, the Siri speaker, which there's still no leaks of. We know it's coming out, but we have no clue what it looks like. I'm very curious about that. Like, can you take the Siri speaker with you, or is it more stationary? Like, I'm very curious about that, and I'm interested to buy it and review it for you guys. And I think it's proof that Apple is really putting a lot of faith in the next Siri refresh at WWDC, where she's going to be given a lot more potential and more power. That the fact that there's this speaker coming out dedicated with Siri built in, like, that means they're very confident about her. And the little iOS Siri Easter eggs we've been seeing for WWDC, she's been saying, I think are proof of that. They're hinting at a very Siri-focused keynote, which I'm very excited for. Hello from Guam. Hey, Lewis. From one Apple sheep to another, how do you feel about the new home button being embedded under the screen? To not see the button, but feel it underneath. Wouldn't that feel weird? What are your thoughts? Okay, Christian, so maybe I need to explain this a little better, but the home button is not being removed, and I apologize if I've made that confusing in my videos, but the physical home button being removed, as in there's distance between the circle on the bottom of your iPhone and the display. They're now merging those two things so that the one button that we interact with the most on our iPhone is now going to be one with the display. And of course, the fingerprint reader is going to be built into that. Now, personally, this is how I think it will work, because we have features like reachability and Apple Pay and ways to unlock your phone before going to the home screen on iOS 10. I don't think that it'll be like an Android phone where you just tap the middle of it. And to donate in the super chat, I saw people asking about that. You use a desktop, or you can use the desktop version of YouTube on Safari in order to donate. So that's how you do that. Anyway, like resting your finger on that on-screen home button for the iPhone edition won't set off the home button. You'll have to actually exert force just as you would an actual physical click, and it will be entirely dependent on that taptic engine on the inside for that physical feedback, similar to what we have on the iPhone 7, which I really want to applaud Apple for helping us move to an on-screen home button. They're kind of providing a middle ground with the iPhone 7, which a lot more people are at first resisting but slowly getting used to. I remember when the iPhone 7 came out, everyone's like, oh, home button's weird, it doesn't travel anymore, it's stationary, it's a solid state home button. But people have gotten used to it. They changed you can change the amount of feedback you have on the iPhone 7. But of course, it only goes off, just like a real button, when you exert force on it. And I think with the iPhone edition, it'll be the exact same way. You'll just exert force and feel that click. And you can also rest your finger there. That way you can still have a double tap as well as a double click. And the double tap will activate things like reachability, and the double click can then access multitasking. It's quite a feat to replace that button on the iPhone. It's not an easy thing to do. But I think Apple, of all companies, is going to make sure this happens correctly. It's not going to be last minute, half tried like the Galaxy S8 was. They did an okay job at removing the physical home button, but the thing was, Android had already done that on so many other phones already. It wasn't that big a deal. It was like Samsung removing it, whatever. But iOS has never had this before, so I think it's a slightly bigger deal. Vunier DJI Phantom says, I wish iOS 11 was more intuitive and had Safari YouTube support for 4K. Well, that is partially YouTube's fault, to be fair, but I know what you're saying. Like, but you're not going to notice 4K on your phone. I hate to break it to you. That's just not something you're going to see. But um, don't blame a lot of iOS features on Google locking iOS users out of things. For instance, if you're on iOS right now watching this live stream, you don't have the super chat option, which is really frustrating because that's a great way to support creators and it's an easier way for me to um, cycle through the chat. It's really kind of annoying for me to just kind of pick random names and try to assume they're going to be insightful comments. Whereas typically when someone's donating, they're kind of putting a bit more thought into it because they're losing some money, but they're also supporting me, which is helpful and useful because this is my full-time job now. Not making a whole lot, but it's very helpful. But so yeah, now I'm gonna go back to just jumping to the chat. Do you hate everything Apple Pro? I don't hate him, Adele. I don't think I hate any YouTuber. I'm subscribed to everything Apple Pro. I watch all of his videos. What I can say about all tech channels, and it's not just him. I don't want to act like I'm singling him out or trying to start war with one other tech YouTuber. All other tech YouTubers, I never found much insight for. I never found myself walking away from their video with more knowledge. All I noticed was they had a bunch of money. They paid to buy the products that just came out and so that they could review them. But they just kind of unbox them and they hold them in their hands, or they turn them into fidget spinners, or they can afford to buy Audis or Teslas. They can do that, but they're never telling me something I can't just read in a tech specs space. Like, I can go on a website and look up everything about a Tesla. I can go on a website, look at all the Google Pixel tech specs, and that's basically what they do in the reviews. They go on and they go, it's good because it did this. Anyway, we got our first super chat of the evening from Max Zerlino. Thank you. If someone could donate that to US dollars, that would also be helpful to me for me later, so I don't have to do the math. Thank you. What is your take on eGPUs like the Razer Core to bump up performance on the MacBooks? So I've answered questions like this before, and first of all, thank you for your super chat. Whatever type of GPUs they're going to be using on the next MacBook, I really don't want people to be. Thank you. Okay, that's $514 US. Wow, thank you very much. I don't want people to be focused on who's making it because Apple is never going to make the GPU slower, okay? Every year they're always going to make something faster than the last. And I understand that a lot of the times we care about who is making the GPU because, thank you guys for translating that donation. Sometimes certain apps take advantage of certain GPUs better than others, which I understand, but I'd like to remind everyone that the software, especially third-party software, is just that, third party, which means it adapts to the hardware coming out. You don't expect Apple to adapt hardware to existing software. Like, for instance, if MacBook Pros had NVIDIA graphics cards right now, they would be far more compatible and seamless together on Adobe products. But they don't, and since they don't, there's a lot less optimization for Adobe products. But I don't really put the blame on that on Apple. I put it on Adobe for not optimizing their apps to work on more Apple Pro material. Because they understand that there's all these MacBook Pros being shipped out made by Apple. I wish Adobe could adapt to Touch Bar stuff and make sure my battery doesn't drain every time I try to edit. It's just totally different frameworks behind these applications, and Final Cut Pro just gets it so easy. I can edit 4K footage on that without the laptop even heating up, whereas I put 4K footage into Adobe Premiere, it crashes. On a computer I spent over $2,000 on, I don't understand what the problem is. If one program can do it, why can't another? So it mind baffling to me, but I don't care too much about what style or what brand of GPU they're using, because I know they're going to make it faster. And if that's a problem, I'm not putting the blame on Apple. I'm putting it on the software developers. Anyway, hey Andrew, do you have some sort of schedule for these live streams? Just curious. They are very informative and fun to watch. Well, I'm glad you think so. But yes, there is. Every Friday night, Pacific time. Well, I guess it's not Friday anymore. But I try to go as late as I can on Fridays because I have fans all over the world, and I'm trying to reach as many time zones as possible. So in this live stream late on Friday nights, I'm reaching mornings for Australia and afternoons and evenings for Europe, and it just kind of works better for them. But on Tuesdays, I anticipate to be live streaming around 1 o'clock to catch kind of the evening side of the East Coast and the central time zone of the United States. And because right now, the East Coast and the central time zone, they're all asleep. So I don't get those views. So that's why I have two live streams. One for one half of the world, one for a different half of the world. So expect live streams on Tuesday at 1 o'clock p.m. and on Friday, like today, no longer today, but on Friday after 11, like late night. That's what we are right now. I'm glad you guys are awake. Good. I'm glad I can still see there. Hi from the moon. Could you see Apple switching to AMD Ryzen processors? They have killer price to performance versus Intel. Well, like I said, I think on Mac Rumors we even have a lineup of every single processor that's going to be in the MacBook Pro for like the next 5 years. I remember looking at that chart, and we're making our way to Kaby Lake processors at WWDC. So, no, like I said earlier, I don't really care about who's making it because I know it's going to be faster every year. And never expect that an Apple product is going to be cheaper. You should always just anticipate it to be the most expensive on the market because you're paying for the software and hardware optimization. You're not just paying for specs. Apple's never been about having good specs. You're awesome for sacrificing your sleep schedule for your viewers. Well, Bunny, again, look, like, it's flattering that you think I'd be awesome for that, but look, this is my job. This is what I do now. Like, this is actually my first week. My last day at my ranch work was exactly 1 week ago today. So I've made it 7 days into my full-time YouTube career. It's going okay. You guys have been very supportive, and the channel's still growing immensely, and I'm very thankful for that. But of course, interacting with the audience is very crucial. I'm going to continue to live stream twice a week as much as possible. And I live stream more than that on my other channels. Tailosive Talks, I stream on there 2-3 times a week sometimes. Tailosive Gaming, we stream at least twice a week. And there'll be more content coming to those channels soon. Anyway. I'm in Central Time Zone also. Oh, wow. You guys are up late, aren't you? Do you think Apple lost its true vision? Does the iPhone 8 or Edition will change that? No. White Z, I think your name is? I don't think Apple's lost their vision. I think there's just a running out of ideas to do with smartphones. We still are forgetting that smartphones are not that old. You know, this is the 10th anniversary. 10 years. That's not very long for an industry to be in business. And after 10 years, it's already apparent that we're kind of running out of things to add. It's hard to think of an original, useful, functional, doable feature that we can add to all of our smartphones that will make a big impact in our lives. I think we already hit that wall with the iPhone 7. And the 2017 iPhones, including the iPhone edition, are a show of loss of creativity because all we're doing now is trying to make the prettiest phone on the block. All the iPhone edition is, hey look, we can make the display a little bit better. Wireless charging, you can just drop your phone on a charger. Like, what's wrong with plugging in the phone? Is that much harder? Not really. Also, you can use your phone while it's plugged in and charging, so wireless charging is less functional in that way. It's just one of those very, very slight conveniences that saves you about 3 seconds. You know, grab the phone, grab the cable, plug it in, is now replaced with drop. So we're very excited about wireless charging, but what actual functional features does it bring? And the Galaxy S8 is another apparent version of that. They had a fingerprint reader, obviously. They added it to the home button. But because they wanted their display to go edge to edge both ways, and to try to have this infinity display, even though you can still see the bezels, But then they moved fingerprint reader to the back. So now you've lost some functionality for the sake of a better looking phone. Because they've realized that Apple's realized this too. I've noticed that now since there's iPhone 9 rumors going around, there is a definite noticeable change in marketing that they realized if we don't change the size of our screen every single year, people are going to blame our phones for not looking, for not changing. Because the iPhone 7, while I think it was one of the most massive iPhone upgrades ever, no one cared about it because they said it looked just like their 6 and 6S. Because it looks the same, it's not really an upgrade, even though you got the stereo speakers, redesigned home button, waterproofing, dual camera, better battery lives, lightning port, upgrades, lightning headphones, and remove the audio jack. We got the AirPods option now. We got a faster processor. We've got the different colors. We've got a whole array of new things and a lot of things we didn't expect, but far more than we actually got just with a simple screen size upgrade. Like people flipped out when the iPhone 6 came out because we finally have bigger screens on iPhones. But in actuality, how much changed other than size and design? That's all people, because fans of the iPhone are very not even fans. I wouldn't say even fans. It's haters of the iPhone are very shallow when it comes to when an iPhone upgrade is worth it, because they hold their 5 and they're like, oh, I owned this before and now it's rounded. Oh, okay, now it's different, so it's better. But it's like, what actually changed? We got noticeable upgrades, but not a whole lot of crazy stuff. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that. The Sam RSS has donated $14.33, oddly specific in Super Chat. Thank you very much. Says, so this is iPhone's 10-year anniversary. So, can you talk a little bit about your opinion on iPhone's growth over the last decade and how you want to see it grow over the next decade? Okay, so that kind of segues into what I was already talking about, so that's good. Thank you for your donation, Sam. It is definitely going to be interesting to see where this is going, because I have said countless times on this channel, okay, you remove all the bezels, you embed Touch ID, you get the earpiece, you get the front-facing camera, you get all of these sensors hidden underneath the screen. Where do you go from there? Once you've mastered design, once you get a display on both sides, once you get a display around the entire thing, where do you go from there? We are still at a problem in development for the iPhone because Apple realizes they are running out of reasons for people to upgrade annually. And the last resort right now with the iPhone edition is that in order to get more people to buy iPhones, since they're running out of functional features, we just have to make it look amazing. Just a fashion show. That's what the Galaxy S8 is. That's what the iPhone edition is going to be. And I'm not saying this is bad. I'm not saying Apple's doing the wrong thing. I'm saying this is the only option. Because Apple's a giant company. Their primary source of income is quite literally iPhone sales. That's where they make all their money. And if they don't sell iPhones, they simply won't be a company. They'll have to downsize. They won't have the money and resources to continue researching more actual functional features they could potentially add to their technology. Keep in mind that software all comes for free on your Apple products, and yet that's a whole half of the Apple company that is reliant on the sales of the hardware team. I'm very curious and kind of arrogant towards the idea of what an iPhone is going to look like in 10 years. I hate to break it to you, but I actually think it's not going to be that different. I don't think we're going to see as massive changes as we're seeing with the original iPhone to the iPhone edition. A lot of people will put those next to each other to be like, 10 years, this is how far we've come. Original iPhone 2007, iPhone edition 2017. And they'll put them next to each other, be like, look how much has changed. The problem with the tech specs trying to upgrade is processors only get so fast. How fast does a text message need to send? Because that's what a lot of us are just doing with our phones. How fast do you need YouTube videos to load? because right now most of us can click on a YouTube video and it'll just start playing. Um, Cameras, they can get 4K, they could fit 8K. Why not on a smartphone camera at 60 frames a second? But at the end of the day, are you going to notice those little details? Um, because we're getting to a point now where pixel density, like 4K on a smartphone, 8K on a smartphone someday, 10 years from now, will that actually be noticeably different from the phones of today? Because pixels per inch are so good that your eyes cannot detect the individual pixels on a screen. So we're hitting a wall, is what I'm saying. You could fit 10 billion pixels on an iPhone, but it wouldn't make a difference. All it would mean is your battery's working harder, your processors are working harder, um, for no reason. Because you can show someone 1080p on a smartphone and 4K on a smartphone, they're not going to notice the difference unless they pull out a magnifying glass. Um, and even not even that, there's still a lot of budget phones out there with a 720p display, and if you take a look at them, you get used to it. It's like, hey, it's a screen. Who cares if I can see the pixels? It still works. Why do I need the pixels to be invisible on there? So I personally think, obviously, yeah, you'll see a noticeable change in smartphones in 10 years. I'm just saying it won't be to the massive extent that we're seeing original iPhone to iPhone Edition. Because when the original iPhone came out, there was plenty of new things it needed. Front-facing camera, better front-facing camera, video recording. Um, they weren't even contemplating the ideas of wireless charging or dual cameras or, the idea of a smartphone replacing so many of your appliances, powering your car, locking your home, being a home security system, talking to your phone so lights would turn on. They weren't thinking of those things, but here we are in 2017, and that's kind of a given. I expect to talk to my phone and for it to know every single fact about Leonardo DiCaprio. And that should all be free. I don't want to pay for any of that. And to me, that excess of information and data and functions that we are throwing into our smartphones is proof that, look, we really are running out of ideas, because it's very hard to keep reinventing this revolutionary product every 12 months. And I think 10 years from now, you'll see a phone that looks beautiful. It's going to be really thin. It's going to be very fast, and it's going to have premium camera quality, screen quality. But the way you use it won't change that much. You're still going to talk to it occasionally, but you're still going to browse social media, text people, listen to music. Everything will just be a little bit better. But I think the most noticeable differences will be in the accessories that accompany your iPhone. It's not going to be the iPhone itself that massively changes and gets new upgrades that you never imagined. It's going to be augmented reality glasses that let you see 3D holograms in the real world that either show up on your watch or show up on your iPhone, or highlight routes while you're driving in a car. Or you'll see Apple develop more smart driving technologies and compete directly with Tesla, with the Model S and Model 3 and Model X and all those cars. And you'll see cars on the road that are driving themselves more often. Give it another 20 years or 30 years from now, it could be impossible or illegal to drive your car. That sounds insane, but it's actually quite possible. Elon Musk thinks it is. Because once the government realizes that it is entirely safer to have a team of engineers design an algorithm for your car to drive itself, it can be potentially life-saving to let a bunch of robots drive on the road instead of humans. Robots are not perfect, sure, but look, humans are terrible at driving. How many times do people die on the road? Just last night here in Orville, a young couple died in a car crash. Senior year of high school too. Terrible thing happened. That is human error. And like in the future, I think the DMV is going to look at incidences like that as this is how dangerous humans can be to each other. People get drunk and can kill innocent people on the road. It would save a lot of lives and potentially just be a better world if we just let robots take the wheel and we don't have control over it. We just get in the car and we say where it wants to go and it handles everything else. Cars could actually drive faster that way because If they're all talking to each other and communicating, we don't have to worry about reckless drivers. So on the highway, our smart driving cars could drive over 100, 120, just because they're all talking to each other. We don't have to worry about people being crazy. Um, you could do overnight road trips. The car could drive through the night while you're asleep in the back. All those kinds of things. I don't mean to get off on the self-driving car topic, but I hope that answered your question. I think the biggest innovations we're going to see the next 10 years aren't going to be to the smartphone itself. The smartphone is really just going to get prettier and gain and get faster and gain a couple functional features along the way, but nothing massive like the difference between the original iPhone and the current iPhone. Okay, there we go. For those saying, I move your Final Cut Pro, Final Cut Pro. Are you kidding me? I can't believe you had to spam that in the chat so many times. What do you think Apple is conceding to Samsung in the 6-inch plus area? Oh, why do you think Apple is conceding? Well, look, like I said earlier, I think Apple realizes that in order for people to be excited about their phones every year, they have to change the screen sizes. Because if they don't, they end up with reception like the iPhone 7, where everyone's like, it looks exactly the same, so it's not a new phone. So what they have to do is provide different sizes, because that's what us dummies look at as new designs. So this year we're going to get our 7S, 7S Plus, and the people who don't care about lack of bezels and don't want to spend $1,200 on an iPhone, they'll get that because it's just a basic upgrade. And I think that was smart of Apple to have the 7S's that are just a basic upgrade that will be good for people who are due for an upgrade but don't need something fancy. They just want a newer phone. But for those people who do demand a redesign, who do demand like a massive refresh to the iPhone lineup, they will see the iPhone edition as this new revolutionary move for Apple and take that route and be willing to pay top dollar for it. So then we have a new screen size, 5.8 inches, largest iPhone screen we've ever had. Next year, though, when we have the true iPhone 8, and I'll say for the video iPhone 9 in 2018, we will have two sizes of the iPhone edition, one at 5.2 inches and one at 6.4, because then the following year, when we all have iPhone editions, we're all going to realize, hey, this is cool, but we all have the same sized iPhone. And now we're back in the same boat we were with the iPhone 5. All of our smartphones were the same size. Whether you got a 5 or a 5C, you got a 4-inch iPhone. And they looked cool, but we prefer screen size increments. So next year, we're going to get two iPhones again, 8 and 8 Plus. And they will have the same technologies of the edition, but they will just come in those two sizes. People will choose the Plus model every time. I'm sure those are going to be more popular, and they'll cost a lot, but we'd be willing to pay for it because now we can have an iPhone edition that's bigger and potentially without ports. Let's hope so. It would just piss off everyone. I would love that. Anyway, I absolutely love my iPhone 7 Plus. I'm glad you do, Damon. What iPad are you on? Talon asks. This is the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. And just as a reminder, if there's new people in here, to give incentive to Super Chat, if you want to change the topic, $2 is all it takes to write a comment. Real simple. And if you want to keep writing more comments, it's don't donate $10 all at once. Stagger out your $2 donations. Also, one person, that's all it takes. One person donates $20. All this water in this mug dunks on my head. $30, I'll cut my own hair. Oh, I won't cut it myself. I'll live stream it on Tailosive Talks at Supercuts or whatever, cutting my hair if you guys think I could use lighter trim. This is twice the amount of water. This is going to get me drenched. I will do it live. $40 for one donation, because last week you guys donated very quickly. So I got to raise the bar a little bit. Anyway, do we get to see the live stream dance? Oh, okay, Ryan. That's easy. I will do the beep beep I'm a sheep dance that Tomska wrote. That's easy. $10. Someone donates $10. I will do the beep beep I'm a sheep dance. Anyway. Can I be a mod? No, I'm the mod. Look, I get there's spammers in the chat. That doesn't bother me. Look, people have the freedom to be idiots. Especially some of the most terrible comments I've ever read when my girlfriend was on the last live stream on Tuesday. She was very gracious and she's very shy about being on this channel. She's kind of nervous about that, but she was interested in trying it at least once just to see what it's like. And then of course there was, and I half expected it. It is the internet. Just some of the most terrible people out there, and she wasn't bothered by them at all. Like she didn't really care about that, but I personally hated it because that is my girlfriend. I care about her. I love her. And I hated reading all those comments about her when I was trying to find tech related topics. You know, I'm trying to interact with my audience, trying to provide entertainment and insight, and instead I'm seeing how people are being sexually immature about my girlfriend. That's terrible. Really annoying. But look, I still believe in freedom of speech, which means that I can be offended by your comments, and you are still allowed to make those comments. The internet is a free place. So I can be mad about that, but I got over it. I didn't. I thought about adding mods that could block people, but I ultimately decided that look, there's going to be idiots who join um, live streams all the time, and I can't do much about it. Anyway, yeah, people were being very inappropriate and rude, and I understand. Look, I understand that's not all of you, and in fact, I understand that the majority of you were very tolerant and very respectful and lovable towards her, and I want to thank everyone who was being polite. Personally, thank you guys for being very respectful towards her. Anyway, let me get to some of these big guys up here. When do you think technology will plateau? Will it ever? Do you think there will ever be the fall of technology? Also, sorry for these people who cyberbully through the internet. Yeah, it's fine. Polar Molar underscore 16 asked. I think we're kind of getting there, but no, I never think technology is ever going to stop developing. It's just the most significant technology upgrades change from time to time. You're not going to see infinite upgrades to the iPad or laptops or iPhones. We're kind of plateauing in the mobile PC department because we've been releasing new products every other day. There's been new upgrades, and we're trying to get everyone to buy the next greatest thing. But to be quite honest, I think the most noticeable upgrades we're going to be seeing in the next 10 to 20 years is going to be in the automobile department, as I talked about that. I think that's a growing and developing industry that's going to have a lot of competition very soon. And when there's competition, technology develops quicker. Augmented reality, not virtual reality. I don't think we're ready for that yet. But Apple's, I think, hard at work at making these smart glasses that are going to project things on your daily routine, your phone, your watch, and that's going to change a lot of the way we interact with our technology. And then I wouldn't count on it, but I think we can count on a lot. That was a contradictory thing. I wouldn't count on it, but my last bet would be artificial intelligence is going to be getting noticeably better. AI like Siri, Google Assistant, Bixby, if Bixby ever gets off the ground, and Alexa, those kinds of things are going to develop more and more and more, and you'll see noticeable improvements in that department. I wouldn't expect massive, unimaginable changes with the smartphone, desktop, laptop, all that stuff. I think we're plateauing there, definitely. Excuse me. Jobs or Steve Jobs? Better movie. I know everyone probably disagrees with me, but I really like the Jobs one just because Ashton Kutcher looks very similar. And I've seen that story in book form and in movie form so many times that I just thought that one was pretty good. It just covered his start to his end with the iPod, and I actually never watched the Michael Fassbender one because Sony made it. I don't really like Sony. I don't mean to be a movie review channel here because I have Tailosive movie reviews for that. But the Fassbender one looked like it was really focusing on that whole aspect that he denied who his daughter was, and that made him into a monster. And Johnny Ive personally spoke out against that movie and said it was a terrible thing that they made it. So that's what made me not want to watch it. But anyway, it's not tech related. Have you seen the Note 8 leaks? Everjohn asked. I've seen some stuff about it. I think it'll be a good phone. Like I said, I like Samsung. They're not the best phones out there, but the Note 8 I think will definitely give the iPhone edition a bit more direct competition, which is smart on Samsung's part. The iPhone edition is shaping up to be quite the super cycle iPhone, but I don't think the Note 8 is going to make anyone want to switch at the end of the day. It's still going to run Android. Um, I've read leaks that the dual camera on the back will have a regular wide angle like Samsung cameras do, and a 3 times optical zoom, not 2 times like the iPhone does, which I thought was a little bizarre because 2 times is good. Like that's a functional use on the iPhone that I use quite often. It's a good amount of depth to zoom in on that you don't want to lose quality with. 3 times I think might be crossing a line though. I think that's a little too far, and it might stretch into the zone where, yeah, 3 times is cool, but you're going to be using it a lot less rarely. And I think they're more focusing on, our telephoto is better than the iPhones, more than they're actually focusing on, is this a functional dual camera? Or are they just trying to make a dual camera that's better than an iPhone's? But if they can get Touch ID embedded into the display, that's great. I'd want that for Samsung users as well. And as long as there's not the $20 donation, I'm going to go ahead and drink from this. Because I'm shooting out words per minute here. Goodness. Wait, what device am I talking about? The Note 8. Do you think Apple will continue the SE line or similar? Well, like I've said, I think I've talked about this before. The iPhone SE stands for Special Edition. And to me, that is like a one-time thing because it is a special edition. So if they are going to continue the 4-inch iPhone lineup, don't expect it to be called the SE, but I simply don't think there's enough sales and there's enough hype around it. I understand you're a very passionate demographic. The iPhone SE is very similar to... It's very similar to the iPad mini, as in the people who like it really like it, but that demographic is just not big enough or buying enough of them for it to convince Apple that they need to keep making that kind of smartphone. I think the other problem is they're probably expecting a ton of demand on the iPhone edition, and form factor wise, it's not crazy bigger than a regular iPhone 7, and it's not crazy bigger than the SE. So they're probably thinking having 4 different sized iPhones, while that is diverse, and if I was CEO, I would be all about giving users the options. It would be a bit redundant for Apple to have 4 different iPhone sizes. They're like, no, if you want the smaller iPhone, get an iPhone 7S. If you want the premium one, get the Edition. If you want another basic one that's just a bigger screen, get the 7S Plus. I just don't think they're finding room for that SE anywhere. I don't know what they'd call it either, because I don't think they'd call anything SE2. That doesn't make sense. It's just special edition. It's a one-time thing. Anyway. Is the new iPad going to be worth it? Ooh, the SAM, RSS. That is a good question. I'm still debating that every day. So rumors as they stand right now. Let me get one more drink. Good stuff. So, rumors as they stand right now show that the iPad 10.5 inch, that's the one everyone's talking about, is going to have thinner bezels, but it's still going to have a physical home button. It's going to have, just the better processor parts, probably a little bit better camera. But honestly, the leaks I'm seeing for it right now are not that exciting. They're really just like, because the 10.5 inch iPad isn't the same form factor as a 9.7. They're literally just making a 9.7 inch iPad just a little bit taller and wider, and with bezels slightly thinner. At least that's what the rumors are saying. And at that state, I almost wonder if it's worth it, because it'd just be getting an iPad smaller than what I have right now with just a little bit better specs and a camera bump. So what I've been saying to my friends and in a couple videos is, I need one more surprising thing about it. And it doesn't have to be much. You don't have to wow me. I just need one more thing to go along with these 10.5 inch iPad rumors for it to be worth it to me. Like, if they added a Taptic engine, the solid state home button like on an iPhone 7, that would be great. I would love that. If they shipped it in matte black, like my iPhone 7, and they could match, That's all it would take for me to be interested in it. I'd be like, oh, great, yeah. Um, that's something different. That's something noticeably different. Because the other reason I think I want to, it's not just because I need a new iPad that I want to buy one. Because honestly, I don't need a new iPad. This one's fine. But I want to buy these new products coming out for you guys to review them and tell you if they're worth it. Um, Maybe if it was waterproof, if they did a IP67 or IP68 water resistance on the iPad, which people haven't really focused on waterproofing on tablets before, but if they did, I would be like, hey, that's kind of crazy, then cool, sure. Even if it's as small an update as like they now include USB-C to Lightning cables with the iPads, like even that slight upgrade would be worth it to me. But if it's just space gray, silver, gold, rose gold. Camera bulge is still there. You have the A10X chip now, and bezels are slightly thinner, and you still have the physical home button. If that's really all they do, I don't care. That's such a minor upgrade. Would it really be worth throwing down another $800 on an iPad when this one is still working just fine? It's nearly 2 years old now, but I just don't. I can't justify getting a whole new iPad for thinner bezels, and everything else about it is the same. I would find it very hard to find it interesting enough to review, because I would just buy it and be like, okay, you know what you get, you know what you're getting here. Anyway, I've been seeing people talking about Apple Watch 3 in the chat. Look, Apple Watch 3 we know very little about, but what we do know is that I think they're finally taking advantage of the secret port for smart bands. And all we really know about smart bands is that they'd be adding glucose monitoring, which is cool. It's just not something I think everyone will buy a new Apple Watch for, because not everyone's diabetic. It's great for diabetics. So for those diabetics out there, hats off to you. Congratulations. But other than that, there's been like the rumors that they'll put LTE cellular data in it, which I don't think is entirely necessary. But if you're running out of ideas to put in that smartwatch, I guess that's the last case scenario, because it's not a common thing for your watch to be so far away from your iPhone. But I guess, if my watch did support cellular data, maybe I'd be more comfortable with leaving my phone behind more often. See, personally, right now, I never leave my phone behind. I take it everywhere, so that's why I didn't care about my watch gaining cellular data. It's like, what difference does it make? But it's, I guess, if I had that option, maybe I would. I don't know. So there's the cellular data thing. There's the smart bands. Switch to micro LED display, which will just make it a little brighter, a little better. So yeah, the Apple Watch 3 is not going to be a massive upgrade. Don't expect much there. I don't even expect design to change very much. It probably will look just like the Series 2. And Apple hates the number 3, so they might not even call it the Series 3. I hope they do. What other smart bands could they do? Expanded battery life? Now, of course, this isn't what I want. I would love an Apple Watch 3 with the display that goes all the way to the aluminum and it covers the entire front of the glass, so you just have no bezels. I'd love it if the battery life was extended and we had a flat back instead of that rounded glass on the back, so that you could put it on the same wireless charger your iPhone Edition will charge on, things like that. But yeah, it's not going to be much, but I think I'll still buy it anyway, just because I want to review it for you guys. The Series 2 wasn't a massive upgrade either, but at the end of the day, it's, believe it or not, $400 is a lot less than it used to be for me, and it's kind of just going to be a yearly cycle thing. They could put expanded battery life in smart bands, I guess, but my Apple Watch very rarely ever runs out of battery, so that's not a huge priority for me. Anyway, why's your stream quality this bad? Well, Kaboot, it's probably because the cellular data on my phone is not very good. Let me check it real quick just to make sure. Is it screaming at us? No, it's not saying poor quality, but This is the best possible internet we can get out in the foothills. So I can't afford. It's not about affordability. I could literally not buy better internet out here. It's not an option. There's not some Xfinity option I can buy. But anyway, no, I don't have Wi-Fi. We have Wi-Fi out here. It is just like it's 1 megabyte down, zero point 0.1 megabytes up. It's unstreamable. I can't upload videos here. But I have Verizon Unlimited, which is very helpful for uploading. And the fact that you can hear me is a miracle because at this house, uploading live streaming just 6 months ago would have been impossible. So it's the best we can do. What do you think of an Apple Watch band with a display? Well, I couldn't use my Nike one, but I don't know what I'd add on there. I guess there's some potential. Huh. I haven't thought about that. Let me think if there's any functional reasons I would have that. Maybe now playing controls, like pause, play, volume. Maybe notifications up on the top band. I don't know. That's not necessarily what the watch band is for. I'm guessing that'd be really expensive and hard to make too. But someday in the future probably we could get watch bands, but probably not on the Apple Watch 3. I live in California. Do you think that Apple will be doing augmented reality glasses in the future? If it is the future, why did Google cancel Glass? I don't know why they canceled it. Can someone translate that to US dollars, please, for Apple Watch World? Thank you. They canceled it because augmented reality is the future, but that doesn't necessarily mean you need to attempt it right away. Because sometimes the technology's not ready yet. Like, it wouldn't make sense to try to make a smartphone 20 years ago just because we could not make components that small. It's not possible. And Google Glass was getting ahead of ourselves by making things way too expensive and not functional in any way. It took like $1,800 to buy. You had to be selected to test it, and all it really did was show a couple things in the corner of your eye. It wasn't that useful. But geez, everyone's got different numbers for it. I'm going to trust the lower one. Anyway, Apple Watch World says, I leaked WatchOS 4 in my channel. Did you see it? I did not. But I could look very quickly, even though I don't believe you. But because you super chatted. Okay. I don't see your video. But hey, 7,000 subs. Congratulations. Anyway, moving on. What's it? Deadpool Pro and Snoop Dogg think they're cool for drawing all this crap in the chat. Yeah, you're great, guys. You're going to go far in life. Anyway, if Google made an ecosystem as broad as Apple's, would you switch? Well, Tom, it's impossible to know because it doesn't exist. But I don't think anyone has made an ecosystem as broad as Apple's, and that's why Apple is unbeatable. Samsung has come really close, I think, but I think their lack of making their own software and trying to merge too many other different companies' software together is their fault. Because Samsung does make desktops, they make premium laptops, they make smartphones, tablets, watches, everything Apple makes. Just they don't make it as seamless. And when you're in that Apple net, when you're in that Apple dome of ecosystem, you have a lot more success because everything is thought through and designed inside and out. And no one else has really attempted to do that, and I think it's because they're too afraid to design their own like in-house ecosystem. They want Android on their phone. They want Windows 10 on their laptop. And when they do that, they can't really create that seamlessness that Apple is able to. And it might be very hard to replicate. I'm sure it's very hard to replicate because you want people to use your product. And it's really hard to make a product that people want to use if it's not running Android and it's not running iOS. How can a third party enter that ecosystem? I don't know how. But it would take a lot of money and a lot of smart thinking to be a big enough company to build an ecosystem that broad. I think I could do it if I had the resources. I know everything that's wrong with Apple as well as why it's great. So if I had the resources to, I could probably beat Apple in a tech war. I've even designed operating systems and phones and tablets myself on my own time, but I'm not going to leak those to you. That's for the future. You guys can look forward to Unit. But as of now, no one has reached that level of broad ecosystem. So if Google did it, I wouldn't guarantee I would switch to it because I'm not sure if they could do it better. Yeah, if I get enough super chat guys, I would definitely make an ecosystem myself. But that's a ways away. For right now, just gonna focus on iPhone 8 videos because that's what people watch. Let me get another drink. It's 12:43. My God. What do you think of being able to open your phone with Touch ID on your Apple? No, I don't want Touch ID on the back. It's that simple. Put it on the front, like the latest leak. Did you even see the latest video? I jumped around all over cars because I was so excited. That means that plan A was to have it. No, don't put it on the Apple logo. It's stupid. I do not have a fidget spinner. I don't understand that whole ecosystem, that whole fad. I guess it's harmless. It's another stupid thing like dabbing or planking or Gundam style. It's just Pokemon Go. It's just a phase. Phase. Wow, it's getting late. It's just a phase. It's gonna get old, and then it'll be that 2017 thing that we all look back on. It'll be all over YouTube Rewind, I'm sure, because that's the new thing, fidget spinners. But no, I've never touched one. I do not drink beer. I'm 19 years old. I am not of legal age here in the United States. Would you rather front-facing Touch ID or dark mode in iOS? Okay, if I had to choose, William, I would definitely take Touch ID on the front. If I don't get dark mode, whatever. iOS is still great. Honestly, if iOS 11 has like very little changes, I wouldn't be extremely upset because I still love iOS 10 the way it is. I understand that every time you upgrade your operating system, you take the risk of making it worse. So if they just decide that, hey, iOS 10 is great, we're going to make very little changes to it, I'd be fine with that. But front-facing Touch ID is going to be a big difference between whether I respect or have doubt in Apple in the iPhone edition. And the fact that the latest rumors are saying it will be embedded underneath the OLED display, to me, that's like, okay, Apple cares about having the best phone out there. They care about making premium phones and not just about selling as many as possible. And I hope it's true. I understand that rumors change on a dime. I understand that everything I talked about today could be invalid next week. I don't know. I'm drinking water, you guys. For those who don't know, if you donate, what was it, $15 in Super Chat, I will dunk this on my head. Donate $25 to Super Chat. See, the price is going lower. This is a full cup of water. I will dunk this on my head, and I'll hold the Galaxy S8 while I do it. How about that? How about that? Wow, you noticed me, Senpai. Yes, I noticed you. I read your name off of an iPad. I hope you're great. No, I'm not prostituting yourself. I'm just pouring water on me. You can interact with your YouTube. That's what Super Chat is meant to be. A way to interact with creators. It's a way to support them. And if you want to talk about something specifically, I can read it in the chat, and it's easier to decipher because as the channel grows, as more and more people watch the live streams, it's very hard to read the chat when it's just zooming by. Anyway, do you think a headphone jack is necessary? Oh, Will. Oh, Will. No. Are you loving the S8? I returned it after a week. Can't betray Apple. I am not. In fact, I would even say that my opinions on it have changed a little bit since I reviewed it. Because when I was using it during that week to review, I really liked a lot of it. I love the display, and I love the design, and I love the camera. I love that it was waterproof. But as time went on, it started to have more and more software problems that just started happening. They weren't predictable. Like, I wanted to live stream with it on this channel, and then the YouTube app would just start, like, crashing all the time, and I couldn't live stream. The microphone sounded terrible. Every time I tried to live stream, people would be like, I can't hear you, it sounds awful. Then other things started happening, like on Android, you're supposed to have Google Photos so that you can back up all your photos and videos for free. Even on my iPhone, I can do that. On the Galaxy S8, there was a glitch, and I could not back up any of my videos. I closed it, I restarted the phone, I logged in and out of Google Photos, and it would just not back up my photos and videos. And it was like, look, this is Android running Google Photos. This is supposed to work better. And yet it wasn't. So I'm liking it less and less. I don't care for it anymore. I'm sticking with the iPhone. Besides tech and gaming, what are your passions? Well, first of all, gaming is not my passion, but the other one I would say is filmmaking. I have a lot of ideas for movies, feature films, both comedies and short films and feature films, that I am pushing off to the future where I have more money, resources, people to work on with me. I made a lot of short films, comedy sketches, and films on my main Tailosive channel. It's just called Tailosive. But there hasn't been videos on there for a long time, so I don't subscribe to that. But I'm just kind of delaying those until I have the resources to make them. But I'm not a gamer. Have you read up on any rumors of Fuchsia OS and the speculation of how it could be the merger between Chrome OS and Android? Yeah, Tom Mitchell, I looked at a little bit of it, but I don't understand why people get so excited about it. It's just Google working on some different, it's not Linux-based or what is it called? OS, just kind of building an OS more for the ground up entirely. There's just too little to know about it. Typically, when you merge a mobile/desktop operating system together, it doesn't really go well, and I think Google is really just seeing if it's possible. They're not really seeing if it should happen, and that's the reason Apple hasn't done it. What are your thoughts on small indie games? Like I said, I'm not a gamer. If I was a gamer, you'd probably see a lot more Tailosive gaming videos, and I just sit on the live streams and really talk to people about the iPhone on there because my co-star Wyatt doesn't say much. My name is Andrew Erickson, for those who don't know. What do you think of an all-display laptop keyboard and all? Well, Jacob Lopez, if you saw my MacBook Pro concept video, you know I'm in love with that. Or if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I love the idea of having a single sheet of glass on both unibody so that the display and as well as the keyboard and trackpad are all virtual. I would love that, and it's going to be probably a couple of years before we see it, but I think that's where Apple's going. I think the fact that they keep shrinking the keyboard every year is evidence that they're moving towards the idea of a touchscreen. They're just trying to get us off the idea that keys need to travel. We're doing this idea very slowly. It's kind of what they did with the iPhone 7. See, with the iPhone 6S and 6, we had a home button that clicked, just like all the other home buttons. Then on the 7, we made it solid state, which helps with waterproofing, and it also gets us ready for having it built onto the display. With the iPhone Edition, they finally moved it onto the display, but we'll get the taptic feedback. So that's where it all is leading. Tailosive Tech asks Prow HD, what MacBook should I should buy to edit 4K vids? It really kind of depends on your software. If you're using iMovie or Final Cut, you can really edit 4K on a 12-inch MacBook. I don't recommend it, but I'm just saying it's possible if you want to have something that light and that portable. But Final Cut Pro keeps impressing me. I could edit 4K videos on there on my 2012 iMac. So if you're editing 4K, you should be fine as long as you're using Final Cut Pro or iMovie. But if you intend on using Adobe Premiere or anything else, I don't know. I've never edited with anything else. You'd probably want to go MacBook Pro route because the 12-inch MacBook couldn't do 4K on Adobe Premiere, and my MacBook Pro can, but just barely. So the bottom line is, if you're buying a MacBook, don't use Adobe products. It's not going to end well for you. Can you please, from now on Twitch, this stream chat is really, really messy. By the way, do you think iPhone 8 is a big update? The update from iPhone 6S to 7 was big, but iPhone is not that big. Well, Kaboot, first of all, every single time I try to live stream from my laptop, I will get nothing but comments that say audio and video is out of sync. I don't know what to do about it. OBS sucks. It's just broken and it doesn't look very good, and I don't know how to fix it. So that's the only way I could stream to Twitch, because I don't know how to stream to Twitch from my iPhone. The only reason we're live streaming right now is because YouTube lets you live stream from mobile. And this, after experimenting with all the different ways of live streaming, this has continuously been the best way. You can hear me the best. I know you can't see me very well, but it is better than every other alternative. And if I went to Twitch, a lot of my fans would not get the alert because I'd have to tell everyone to go follow me there, and I would lose a bunch of followers. Also, if your question's not being answered and you just feel like you have to keep copying and pasting or answering the chat all the time, look, we do live streams on other channels where I will gladly talk more about technology on there if you want to. So if you are interested in more intimate live streams where we're not begging for as much attention as possible, subscribe to Tailosive Talks. Subscribe to Tailosive Gaming. We go live on there all the time, and I will gladly talk more about tech. It's just, it won't be covered with, 86 people in a live stream at once where those chats just zooming by. So that's my solution if you want more intimate streams. I'm not moving to Twitch. I don't think that would be better. Mr. Monologic says, do you think Apple will ever offer a movies version of Apple Music? So we would pay a monthly premium to have unlimited access to all movies, TV shows that are currently in the iTunes store. I did a video about that called Apple Movies. I don't think that's in the works, but it's apparent that they're adding lots of movies and TV shows to your Apple Music subscription, which I know feels a little weird, but it's not too far-fetched to think that, iTunes used to be just music, but now there's all kinds of movies on the iTunes store. So now they're basically going to start incorporating movies and TV shows into your Apple Music subscription. And that way you just kind of stay subscribed to it, I guess. But I guess I've kind of abandoned that idea of thinking that Apple is working on a Netflix competitor. The time has passed for that. I don't think it's happening. Well, guys, how do you become a mod? You can't. I am the mod. It's 5 minutes to 1 o'clock, and I do have a lot of stuff going on tomorrow. So if there's any last super chats, now's the time to do it. But I'll be answering a couple last questions, and then close to 1 o'clock, I'll be wrapping up. Will Apple ever include an Apple Watch and earpods in the box? Well, definitely not an Apple Watch. That would be incredibly surprising. But I'm assuming you mean AirPods, Dino DNA, which it's rumored that AirPods are included with the iPhone edition. And one person tagged me on Twitter and said perhaps the reason that AirPods are in such low demand is half of the AirPods being manufactured are going directly into iPhone edition sales. So I think that's definitely a possibility. It kind of infuriates me that there's all these AirPods that aren't being shipped out. But it'd be quite a premium package if every single iPhone edition you bought came with a pair of really good headphones like AirPods. That would surprise me if that's the case, but the most recent rumors have been saying that's true. And if in that case, Samsung, you are screwed. Having AirPods in the box, that'd be next level stuff. Why don't you like everything Apple Pro? It's not that I just don't like everything Apple Pro. I just don't like most tech channels in general. It's not just him. It's everybody. I don't think everyone's very insightful. I don't think anyone opens your eyes or mind to new things. They're just kind of like, Samsung's display is bigger, so it's a better phone. And that's as far as they get. Or Surface Studio is a touchscreen that folds down. Great, this is better. It's not that interesting to me. Anyway, we got a new super chat here. Evan Hosna says, I just bought an S8 to replace my iPhone 6s to try something new. I like it, but wish I could have waited for the next iPhone. My question is, do you think we'll ever see USB-C on a future iPhone? Evan, good question. Thank you for your donation. I'm kind of torn on it. I don't think so. And it's something I think Apple is thinking through because I understand that they're putting USB-C on the MacBooks and it would make sense that that's what their final port is going to be, and that's why they put it on the iPhone. But I think the reason they're not going forward with USB-C on the iPhone edition is because pretty soon they're going to be removing ports in general. So what's the point in at the last second changing the port on the iPhone lineup when in reality they're just going to tell everyone to switch to wireless headphones and wireless charging, and that's your only option. I think that's far more likely. That could even happen next year, if they really nail down this wireless charging pad thing. And it's going to be even more controversial than removing the headphone jack. It'll be something you'll see me defending and the rest of the internet hating me for and hating the next iPhone for. But $10 so you'll spill water on yourself? No, that was 15. Remember, guys? I said this was 15. This one was 35. Okay, $20 super chat. Oh no, wait, did someone donate 10? Does that mean I have to dance? Yeah, it does. Not spill water on myself, but I'll do the beep beep I'm a sheep dance. But I don't think they're gonna do USB-C on the iPhone now. I think they're going to what do you call it? Remove ports. So they figure why change it when they are about to remove it. Okay. Beep beep I'm a sheep. Where is it? I'm just gonna bring it up here. This is gonna be really embarrassing, by the way. I don't even care. Beep beep like a sheep. That's all you get. That's fine. What do you think of the Huawei phones? I don't care. They're not made by Apple. You know what? It's late. You're gonna get lazy answers now. Anyway, you got scared. Are you more excited for iOS 11 or the actual hardware of the iPhone edition? Obviously, the hardware. I'd be fine if iOS 11 is barely upgraded because I love iOS 10 the way it is. That was awesome. What is your opinion on the S8 now? Still recommend it? My recommendation is kind of going down, to be honest. It's becoming less and less likable as time goes on because you get used to that design, you get used to that great display, and that's probably what the iPhone edition is going to be like. It's the wow factor when you first see it. It's amazing. It's so different. But then you get used to it and you realize that software-wise, functionality-wise, not much has changed. It's a fashion show. That's the big problem. That's the big problem with this year's iPhone. So, guys, it's 1 o'clock. If there's any more super chats at all, I'll keep going. But if in the next minute we don't see anything, I'm just gonna go to bed because I am tired and I have work to get to. Do you still have some hope for the iPhone 8? Yeah, especially after the rumors today that Touch ID will be on the front. It's gonna be great. I'm excited to buy it. Solve all this water here. Someone donates big time. I will dunk this on me. You don't have to. I finally joined the iPhone bandwagon with the SE. What apps do you recommend? Apple Music, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. What do you think of jailbreaking? I don't see the point in trying to complicate iOS because one of the great things about iOS is that it's so simple and it does all the work for you, and I think jailbreaking ruins all that. Just for the sake of customization. If you want customization, just switch to Android. Anyway, how much for the water dunk again? Well, it's the end of the night. I'll lower it down to $20. This is a lot of water, guys. I don't want to dunk this. I've now dunked it. I've now lowered the price by half because I don't know what the price is at because usually I go too high and people never do it, or I go too low and people do it like that. I was like, okay, I'll dunk this on my head for $20, and then instantly, when that happens, I'm like, oh god. But you know what? It's late. I don't care. I'm gonna fall asleep any minute now anyway. So if this is dunked on me, should I wait for a 2017 MacBook or buy 2015 or 2016 model? Right now, don't buy anything. Look, nothing is in ripe season right now. The iPhone's not in ripe season. iPad's about to be updated. MacBook's about to be updated. Just wait. Just wait for WWDC, see the new upgrades, and once we have all our new information, then we'll talk about what MacBooks are worth it, what iPads are worth it. But I am never going to recommend buying a old, used MacBook Pro. I never think that's a good idea, but that's just me. You have $20, but no, you can't be bothered. I understand. I respect that. Anyway, Oh, when's the ripe season? Right after something comes out. The iPhone 7's been out for so long. When you buy it now, you're going to be ripped off in just a couple months when the new iPhones come out. And you'll be like, oh, I wanted those. Or you could have got the iPhone you'll have right now for cheaper. Just don't buy anything right now. The next live stream will be held next Tuesday at about 1 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. So do the math for when that is for you. Pacific time is where Apple Cupertino time is. Anyway, are you going to VidCon? No, no plans on that. Apple Music is better than Spotify. That is a fact. I don't care if I pissed you off there. What camera lens do you like the best? Telephoto from Apple, wide angle from LG, or monochrome from Huawei? Telephoto from Apple, because I'm the Apple sheep. Anyway. Well, thank God no one donated enough so I can still drink this. Talking this much makes your throat very dry. This water feels great on it. Where do you get your renders? I make them. Well, unless they have a watermark on them, then I got them from someone else. How to do Super Chat? Yeah, I could make a video on how you Super Chat. It's doable on... Okay, you know what? I'm going to see if I can figure it out. So I can tell you... So I can explain to each and every one of you how I can steal your money. Alright. Here's how you can... Here's how me, the YouTuber, can steal money from you. So you go to Safari, right? Yeah. You go to YouTube on Safari, not the YouTube app. You request desktop at the bottom of the screen. Oh, and mine's broken. It's in a loop. Oh, I'm curious if I can do it with the Puffin browser. For those who don't know, the Puffin browser is like a desktop emulator. Everyone should use it for when they need their browser to look like a desktop for certain things. So let's see. I'm going to go on YouTube. On my dashboard. I'm going to... Can I donate to myself? Okay, you know what? I'll log out of Tailosive Tech. Log into some other channel, my private channel. Yeah, I understand. You don't have to say that you have the money. I get that. If you don't want to donate, just don't donate. You can just hit out. Okay, on the Puffin browser, you can go to a live stream. Dang it, it doesn't support that. It doesn't let me use that version of the Super Chat. Well, I don't know what I'm doing then. You can use Super Chat on YouTube, click the $sign. Well, Google, because they are so insightful and inclusive, decided that iOS users do not get to use Super Chat, and that's primarily my audience. Anyway, I'll figure out how to fix this later, so I can explain to everyone how it works. But yeah, definitely follow r.designer on Instagram, because he's done concepts for me too. I give him shoutouts. Yeah, you can Super Chat on Android. Yeah, thank you, Google. Anyway, so this has been your Apple Sheep here. Thank you guys for watching the stream. Sorry if certain options are not available to you, but thank you, Super Chatters. And again, next live stream is going to be this Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. So thank you guys for your donations and your questions, and I will see you in the next one.